Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we could see that we are going to start the lecture of the Election Commission. Okay. So basically, these are the topics which we have scheduled for the discussion under this particular series. Like we are going to start with the introduction part. Thereafter, we are going to see the composition, then the independence, then the powers and the functions, then the vision, mission, and the principles. All right. But before this, let me tell you several things which will make up you before the starting of the lecture. All right. So basically, if we talk about the India, okay. So in India, we know that India is the world's largest democracy. India is world's largest democracy. And like any other democracy in the world, basically India also having the election or the voting system. All right. It means that the people of India exercise the democracy, okay, by choosing the representatives who will represent them in the governance. All right. And this is basically what we call as an indirect democracy. What does it mean? It means that basically the people of India is running the country, but not by participating themselves. All right. They are basically selecting the representatives, and the representatives are representing the India into the government. All right. So India is the world's largest democracy having the election system or the voting, and we called it as an indirect democracy. Now the question is that basically we had seen that India having the system of election and voting. So which organization in this country is responsible to ensure that the election system must be fair and open? Must be fair and open. Which organization this country is going to look after it? All right. So basically, for this, we have the Election Commission. All right. The Election Commission is the organization in the country which ensures that the world's largest democracy's elections must be conducted in a fair and the enough manner so that everything could be crystal clear and the country's people could be trusted on the process of democratic selection. All right. So that is just a base before starting the actual lecture. So let's go further. Now we have the introduction part. All right. Now we have the introduction part. So the Election Commission is a permanent and independent body which is established by the Constitution of India. All right. So basically here we had identified several words. Like the first is the permanent body, another is the independent body. All right. And third is the Constitution of India establishes. So what we have concluded here, like if we're talking about the permanent nature of the body, what does it mean? It means that there is nothing in this country which could finish the election commission after some time. Okay. So the election commission is existed forever. That's the first thing. Thereafter, another thing is the independent body, which means that it does not come under any ministry, any department of the government. Okay. So it is working independently so that nothing could influence the decision and the working of the election commission. Third, it is established by the Constitution of India. So basically, it is an constitutional body. Okay. So basically, Election Commission is a permanent and independent body which has been established by the Constitution of India directly to ensure the prime task, which is the free and the fair elections in the country. Free and the fair elections in the country. So the Article 324 of the Constitution provides that the power of superintendence, direction, and control of elections to the Parliament, State Legislature, Office of President of India, Vice President of India shall be vested in the Election Commission. All right. So remember that Election Commission basically deals with the four types of election. First is the Parliament elections. All right. Second is the state legislatures election. Third is the president's elections. Fourth is the vice president election. Okay. Parliament elections, state legislature, president elections, and the vice president elections. All right. So basically, if we talk about it in a particular manner, then what we could see that two elections are on the direct basis. Okay. And the other two elections are on the indirect basis. So what is direct basis or the indirect basis? Basically, in the concept of direct basis, generally the people of India could directly participate. Okay, like each and every one of this country could participate in the direct elections. Whereas when we talk about the indirect elections, then basically only you could say particular electoral college particular electoral college could participate. All right. So that is the difference between the direct and the indirect elections. But remember, the both comes under the power of superintendence, supervising, and the direction and controlling of the election commission. Thus, the election commission is an all India body in the sense that it is common to the both central government and the state government. Why? Because it is not only looking after the elections conducting at the central level, but also looking after the elections conducting at the state level. It must be noted here that the election commission is not concerned with the elections to the panchayats and the municipalities in states. For this, Constitution provides for a separate state election commission. All right. So remember, the National Election Commission or just the Election Commission is basically responsible for the elections of the parliament, state legislatures, vice president, and the president. It is not responsible to look after the elections of the panchayat and the municipalities. That is basically seen by the State Election Commission. All right. So basically, now we have to talk about the composition of the Election Commission. Like, what is the composition? So remember, there is an Article 324 in the Indian Constitution that has made the following provision with regard to the composition of the Election Commission. The Election Commission shall consist of the Chief Election Commissioner and such number of the other election commissioners, if any, as the President may fix from time to time. Okay. So remember, basically the Chief Election Commissioner is there. All right. And the other election commissioners could be appointed without any specification of number, and that has been decided by the President of India. And this could be changed time to time, and basically that is purely depend upon the need of time. All right. The appointment of the chief election commissioner and the other election commissioners shall be made by the president. Doesn't matter whether he's a chief election commissioner or the other election commissioners. All the appointments will be made by the president of India. When any other election commissioner is appointed, the chief election commissioner shall be act as the chairman of the election commission. Okay, it means until or unless no other election commissioner has been appointed to the office except the chief election commissioner, or you can say not except, besides the chief election commissioner. Okay, the chief election commissioner or the election commissioner will be the same. But if there are more than election commissioners in the office, so one will be the chief election commissioner who is to be required to act as a chairman of the election commissioner. Okay, thereafter the president may also appoint, after consultation with the election commissioner, such regional commissioners as he may consider necessary to assist the election commission. Like suppose if we talk about India, then India is a big and a diverse land. All right, India is a big and a diverse land. So if any region of the country requires the additional appointment of the election commissioner in that particular region, so that is known as the regional commissioner. Okay, so the president of India is empowered to appoint such commissioners only after the consultation with the election commission. If the election commission said that we could appoint it, then the president will appoint the regional election commissioner or the regional commissioner who will look after the election process in that particular region. Okay. The conditions of service and tenure of office of the election commissioners and the regional commissioners shall be determined by the president. Okay, it means that the constitution does not provide for their tenure and the office conditions, and that are basically decided by the president of India. Okay, since its inception in 1950, when the election commission was established, till 15th October 1989. So remember, from 1950 to 1989, almost for the 39 years, okay, the election commission functioned as a single body or single member body. It means that there was nothing like a chief election commissioner. There was only one election commissioner consisting of the chief election commissioner. All right. On 16th October 1989, the president appointed 2 more election commissioners to cope with the increased work of the election commission on account of lowering of the voting age from 21 to 18 years. All right. Basically, if we talk about India, then we know India is the country which having the highest youth population. All right. So basically, in 1989, what India did, that India lowered the voting age. It means that priorly it was 21 years old. If the person is 21 year or above, then only he or she could vote. But later what happened in 1989, the age has been reduced to 18 years. If the person is 18 years old, then he or she could vote. So that's why the voting population has been gradually increased. So that's why the election commission felt burden, and to reduce the burden, the president of India then appointed 2 more election commissioners so that they could cope with the increasing work of the election commission. All right. Thereafter, the election commission functioned as a multi-member body consisting of the 3 election commissioners. All right. However, the 2 posts of the election commissioners were abolished in the January 1990, and the election commissioners were revested to the early position. Okay. 1989 to 1990, basically there were 3 election commissioners. Then again in 1990, the 2 were abolished. And in October 1993, the president appointed 2 more election commissioners again. Since then, till today, the election commission has been functioning as a multi-member body consisting of the 3 election commissioners. So just remember these details and just remember the dates. Okay. The chief election commissioner and the 2 other election commissioners have the equal powers and receive the equal salary allowances, and other perquisites, which are similar to those of a judge of the Supreme Court. In case of difference of opinion amongst the Chief Election Commissioner and or two other election commissioner, the matter is decided by the commission by majority. Okay, it means that if suppose there are three members, all right, and they having the different opinion on any particular thing, then basically the thing will be decided on the basis of majority voting. All right, they hold office for a term of 6 years or until they attain the age of 65 years. It means that the service years are basically fixed by the constitution, whichever is earlier. They can resign at any time or can also be removed by the president before the expiry of their term. It means that they are not required to serve 6 years or up to the age of 65 years. If they want to resign earlier, then they could. And even if they are required to be removed from the office, then it could be done before the expiration of their term. All right. Thereafter, Article 324 of the Indian Constitution has made the following provisions to safeguard and ensure the independent and the impartial functioning of the Election Commission. Like how the Election Commission could be ensured as an independent body. First, the Chief Election Commissioner is provided with the security of tenure. All right. He cannot be removed from his office except in the same manner on the grounds of Judge of the Supreme Court. Okay. It means he can be removed by the President on the grounds of resolution passed to that effect by both of the Houses of Parliament with the special majority, either on the ground of proved misbehavior or incapacity. Not just of allegations, but there must be a proof of it. Thus, he does not hold his office till the pleasure of the President, though he is appointed by him. It means that no one could remove the Chief Election Commissioner at any time. Okay, the removal process is very much similar to the Supreme Court judge, or basically we call it as an impeachment. All right. So until or unless the both houses of the Parliament passes the resolution after the special majority on grounds of misbehavior and incapacity, he could not be removed. Okay. Thereafter, the service condition of the Chief Election Commissioner cannot be varied to his disadvantage after his appointment. It means that predetermined conditions are there. Once the person appointed to the office, his service condition could not be changed so that no interference in his work could be done. Any other election commissioner or a regional commissioner cannot be removed from office except on the recommendation of the Chief Election Commissioner. It means that until or unless the Chief Election Commissioner says, no one could remove the election commissioner and the regional election commissioner so that they could work independently and freely. So, the Constitution has sought to safeguard and ensure the independence and the impartiality of the Election Commission. But there are some flaws which could be: first, the Constitution has not prescribed the qualification, legal, educational, administrative, or judicial of the members of the Election Commission. It means that there is no fixed qualification, no fixed criteria on the basis of which the person could be appointed in the office. Thereafter, the Constitution has not specified the term of the members of the Election Commission. It means that what is the term to holding the office is not clearly defined for the members of the Election Commission through the Constitution. Third point is the Constitution has not debarred the retiring election commissioners from any further appointment by the government. It means that if the person retires from the election commission, then he could be appointed by the government in any other office. So that makes the case for the favorism. Like the person who has been appointed as an election commissioner, he could favor the government on account of getting appointment into some office after the elections or after the retirement. Okay, so these are some of the flaws. Thereafter, what are the powers and the functions of the election commission? The powers and the function of election commission with regard to the elections to the president, state legislature, office of president and the vice president be classified into the three phases. What are the administrative powers, advisory powers, and the quasi judicial powers? All right. So basically, in details, these powers and functions are: first, to determine the territorial areas of the electoral constituencies throughout the country on the basis of the Delimitation Commission Act of the Parliament. All right. Second, to prepare and periodically revise electoral rules and to register all the eligible voters. This is the work of the Election Commission. Third, to notify the dates and schedules of elections and to scrutinize nomination papers. All right. Fourth, to grant recognition to the political parties and allot election symbols to them. All right. And fifth, to act as a court for settling disputes relating to granting of recognition to the political parties and allotment of election symbols to them. So these are prime functions of the Election Commission. Thereafter, another functions are to appoint officers for inquiry into disputes relating to the electoral arrangements. Seventh, to determine the code of conduct to be observed by the parties and the candidates at the time of elections. Eighth, to prepare a roster for publicity of the policies of the political parties on radio and TV in times of elections. To advise the president on matters relating to the disqualification of the members of parliament and when it's come to the state legislature. So basically, to advise the governor on matters relating to the disqualification of the members of the state legislature. All right. Thereafter, to cancel the polls in the event of rigging, booth capturing, violence, and the other irregularities. Thereafter, to request the president or the governor for requisitioning the staff necessary for conducting elections. 13. To supervise the machinery of elections throughout the country to ensure the free and the fair elections. 14. To advise the president whether elections can be held in a state under president's rule in order to extend the period of emergency after 1 year. 15. To register the political parties for the purpose of elections and grant them the status of national or the state parties on the basis of their pool performance. All right. Thereafter, another things are the election commissioner is basically assisted by the deputy election commissioners. They are drawn from the civil services and appointed by the commission with the tenure system. It means there is a fixed tenure for which the deputy election commissioners are being appointed. They are assisted in turns by the secretaries, joint secretaries, deputy secretaries, under secretaries, which are posted at the secretariat of the commission. The secretaries assisted them and then these assisted the election commissioners. All right. At the state level, the election commission is assisted by the chief electoral officer, who is appointed by the chief election commissioner in consultation with the state government. Below this, at district level, the collector acts as the district returning officer. He appoints a returning officer for every constituency in the district and presiding officer for every polling booth in the constituency. All right. Thereafter, what is the vision, mission, and the principles of the election commission? Okay, there is nothing to explain much about it. This is just lines. The Election Commission of India strives to be an institution of excellence by enhancing active engagement, participation, deepening and strengthening the electoral democracy in India and globally. All right. So, what is the mission? The Election Commission of India maintains the independency, integrity, and the autonomy, ensures the accessibility, inclusiveness, and the ethical participation of stakeholders. It means that both voting seekers, let me write down again so that you could understand properly. Vote seekers, vote giver, and other departments related. Vote seekers are the political parties which are seeking the vote. Vote givers are the general public and other departments which are basically included for the function. All right. So all the stakeholders and adopts the highest standards of professionalism, for delivering free, fair, and the transparent elections to strengthen the trust in the electoral democracy and the governance. All right, because as in the starting of the lecture, I had told you that this is the basic pillar for the democracy. All right. Thereafter, what are the guiding principles for the Election Commission? The Commission has laid down for itself guiding principle of good governance, like first, to uphold the values which are enshrined in the Constitution, like the equality, equity, impartiality, independence, and rule of law in the superintendent's direction control over the electoral governance. Thereafter, to conduct the elections with the highest standards of credibility, freeness, fairness, transparency, integrity, accountability, autonomy, and the professionalism. Third, to ensure the participation of all eligible citizens who are above 18 years of age in electoral process is in an exclusive voter-centric and voter-friendly environment. All right. Thereafter, to engage with the political parties and all stakeholders in the interest of the electoral process, to promote awareness about the electoral process and electoral governance among stakeholders, namely voters, political parties, election functionaries, candidates, and people at large, and to enhance and strengthen the confidence and trust in the electoral system of this country. Thereafter, to develop the human resource for effective and the professional delivery of electoral services, and to build quality infrastructure for smooth conduct of electoral process. All right. To adopt technology for improvement in all areas of electoral process, to strive for adoption of innovative practices for achieving excellence and the overall realization of the vision and mission, and to contribute towards the reinforcement of the democratic values by maintaining and reinforcing the confidence and trust of the people in the electoral system of the country. All right. So students, basically in this lecture, we had finished the Election Commission. Vision, mission, and principles, there is nothing to explain you about. So that's why I haven't explained you. But you will understand by yourself when you will read again and again them. All right. But why the Election Commission is necessary? What are the things? How the election commissioners are appointed? How they operate? Who appoints them? What is the process of removal? What is the tenure? What are the constitutional provisions? All the things I have told you regarding this. Okay. So basically, you could say that in this particular lecture, we have done with the Election Commission, which is very, very important from the examination point of view, and why I have told you. In the next lecture, we will start with another important thing. Till then, just revise all the facts and figures which we have discussed in this lecture and keep yourself ready for the another lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture and thank you.